for this particular one, what I did is I was swimming. I swim for about a half an hour, and I also run. I run in the beach, and I also run in the hills. But yes, I do some swimming, and I do it to help my muscles. Sometimes I do it a month before the fight, so I don't get too tied up in my.
Caesar's Palace, the Roman Plaza, ready for two great welterweight fights. The first includes an all-time legend against this young hopeful, David Estrada. He's bounced back and forth from Chicago to Miami his whole life. He says he's a Chicago fighter, just training in Miami. What a crowd here at Caesar's Palace. Sugar Shane has brought him out time and time again here on the Vegas Strip, but maybe a new star is about to be made. Estrada's had a fun time here this week. Spent every day riding roller coasters up and down the Strip in Vegas. May have himself a roller coaster in front of him in Shane Mosley. And with Phil Collins feeling it coming in the air tonight, here comes Sugar Shane. Three-time world champion says he's determined to dominate and destroy everyone at 147 pounds. Currently ranked as a junior middleweight. You see Dan Rayfeld at ESPN.com and Ring Magazine with that rarefied air of a ranking for Shane Mosley. And if he's victorious tonight, you can bet he'll be right back in the mix among all the elites at 147 pounds. A wave and a kiss to his loyal fans. The level of competition he's been in against recently, just sensational. The combined record of his last four opponents, 155-12. He is primed and ready. Teddy, let's talk over the fight plans, and let's start it off with to start making his run to a fourth world title. Teddy, how does he go about it tonight?
Well, number one, bang the drum, Joe. And that's not to tell everybody you're back as a welterweight. I mean, go to the body. You're a tremendous body puncher, and you can slow down the game. Good chin to Estrada by going there. Number two, up, and away. Not in your beautiful balloon, but with your terrific uppercuts. Estrada leans forward on the inside. Those are just the punches that could take you up, and away. And number three, left hook as he comes. You're quicker, so use it. When you see him lead with his right hand, we talked about it, time him with a left hook and go to the victory circle.
For the official introductions of this welterweight clash, we send it to the ring to Jimmy Lennon Jr.
Ladies and gentlemen, from the legendary home of champions, Caesar's Palace here in Las Vegas, Nevada, we present this very special attraction coming away. It is brought to you courtesy of Main Events in association with DeBella Entertainment, Caesar's Palace, and the undisputed king of beers, Budweiser. Presenting our judges at ringside, Chuck Jompa, Dick Houck, and Dave Moretti. Our referee in charge of the action, our third man in the ring, Robert Bird. All right, fans, here we go with a welterweight special attraction scheduled for 10 rounds of boxing. Introducing to you first on my right, fighting out of the red corner. He is wearing black trunks with gold trim and fighting out of Miami, Florida. He weighed in at 148 pounds. His record stands at 18 wins, 1 defeat with 9 wins coming by way of knockout. Ranked the IBF #2 welterweight in the world. Introducing David Estrada. And his opponent across the ring on my left, fighting out of the blue corner in this 10-round attraction, wearing white trunks with gold and black trim, hailing from Pomona, California. He weighed in the same as his opponent, 148 pounds. His record stands at 39 wins, 4 losses, 35 big wins coming by way of knockout. Tonight, ladies and gentlemen, he resumes his campaign for supremacy in the welterweight ranks. Please welcome one of boxing's great stars. Here is the 3-time world champion, introducing Sugar Shane Mosley. Once again, a referee in charge, Robert Bird, now to give instructions. 10 rounds of action scheduled.
Okay, gentlemen, you had your instructions in the dressing room. Only thing I'm going to tell you now is when I tell you to stop, that means stop whatever you're doing and give me a clean break. Protect yourselves at all times, obey my commands at all times. This is a professional fight. I expect you to conduct yourself in a professional manner. Your belt lines are good. Back to your corners. Let's do it.
With fame, success, and longevity comes criticism, and Sugar Shane has a very keen ear. He hears what he terms haters loud and clear. Tonight, he vows to shut them up. The ring experience, no comparing it. It's Shane all the way. But Teddy, David Estrada was blunt in telling us that what he lacks in experience, he more than makes up for in what one of our famed college basketball analysts calls onions. He's a gutsy kid and confident.
Having said that, I know this is not a swimming contest, but Estrada's going from the wading pool into the ocean.
And he's diving in head first. Opening round scheduled for 10. David Estrada, Shane Mosley. Estrada wearing the black with gold. Sugar Shane in the white with gold trim.
Estrada wants to do it on the front end, aggressively, on the lead, walking forward. Mosley's going to look to get some help from mistakes from Estrada. If there's gaps, if Estrada doesn't bring his feet, if he reaches a little bit with his shots, which sometimes he does, especially with the right hand.
Guys, watch your heads.
Mosley's going to look to do some of his work on the counter. Take advantage, maybe.
Right hand from Estrada.
Some of that aggression of Estrada. Don't think Mosley's fleeing. Right now, he's trying to be the spider, and he's inviting the beetle into his parlor.
Goes to the body with a right hand to Sugar Shane.
Watch Mosley. He understands the finesse of this sport. He'll lead when he has to. He'll walk to you like he did with the bigger winky right when he had to, even in a losing effort. But right now, he's giving up ground, trying to lure Estrada into a trap. He's not using cheese, but he's stepping back, and he wants to snap off a right hand or a left hook if Estrada will take the bait. Look at him. That's why Mosley is taking steps back. Every time Estrada comes in about 6 inches, Mosley goes back about 9, trying to create a gap, room for a counter. So far, he hasn't gotten it.
Don't do that. Don't hold your head, okay?
Robert Bird with the warning for holding behind the head, just at the moment that David Estrada had fired off a combination. Tries to come in with the left hand. We heard Teddy wonderful technical analysis as to what Sugar Shane sees and trying to set up on the other side. David Estrada, he has said many times this week, I don't have a strategy. I pressure an opponent until they break down.
But he's pressuring him without leaving holes right now. So he might tell you don't have a strategy. All fighters say that. It sounds good. But he worked at his game plan. He's not leaving any holes right now. He's not leading with fat punches, not leaving himself wide open. He's bringing his feet. He's making sure there's no gaps. He's making sure the distance is right. Watch when he starts. He's taking steps up to the right starting position before he chucks anything. See how he's taking steps?
Absolutely.
If he starts from too far away, he knows he'll leave a hole for those quick hands of Mosley.
David Estrada, of course, under the tutelage of Louis Lagerman, his everyday trainer, and his manager and trainer observer, the Hall of Famer Angelo Dundee. Great to have Angelo here this week. All the memories of past championships won and lost here at Caesars Palace.
Mosley hasn't gotten warm yet, but Estrada reached just a little bit. Look for Mosley to try to fill those holes the next round.
Fighter focus on David Estrada. Well, early in his career, he was in many top-level camps. He sparred with Hopkins, Vargas, Judah. We told you, Chicago guy that bounced back and forth. He trains in Miami. Not a bad idol to have growing up. Roberto Duran, may he give us that kind of excitement tonight.
Whenever you shot with that right hand, cast the right hand and fight your own right hand.
And as for Sugar Shane, he's been in these positions many times before. His father, Jack, starting him off at age 8, 260 amateur fights, was the 2000 Boxer of the Year, the 3-time world champion. But now, his third different trainer in as many fights. Shane Mosley being trained by John David Jackson. He was with Joe Goosen for the rematch against Winky Wright. And of course, prior to that, his father, Jack Mosley, had him all the way up from the age of 8.
You know, it's a funny thing here, Joe. Everyone talks about Mosley's fast and more finesseful, and he is. And he might win this fight on the counters. He might not. But everyone's talking about how he's dropping in weight, how, you know, Estrada's a stronger guy, the aggressive guy. I don't agree with that. I agree that Mosley's the faster guy, the more experienced guy, the guy who's been there before. We know more about him than we do about Estrada. But I happen to think, probably the minority here, that Mosley's also the stronger guy. I don't know if he's going to fight that way right now, but if he sits down and starts banging to that body, I know Mosley is a strong guy. Even though he's moved up in his career 3 weight classes, and he's a good body puncher. And there's no better way to discourage a guy who's stepping up in class for the first time more than to hurt him downstairs and say, you don't belong here.
Went to the body with the jab that time, did Mosley. Saw the numbers there in round number 1, 9 out of 40 for Estrada. You know, when he fought Chris Smith and had that signature win, he averaged over 80 punches around thrown.
The danger for Estrada isn't being tough. It is. It's in being tough and being aggressive, because he does it sometimes in a fat way, in a way where the technique is not as good as Mosley's, the talent is not as good, and he can leave a hole. And you leave a hole with someone experienced, a 3-time former champion like Mosley, you get that hole filled very quickly. And again, Mosley's stepping out for a reason, to try to create room for Estrada to make a mistake. You just saw a moment ago, Joe, that one jab from Estrada. I think that's dangerous. Watch when he throws one jab. He freezes out there. He lays himself right there.
You're looking for a right from Mosley to take advantage of that, Teddy?
That's what I would look for. More importantly, that's what Mosley's people should look for.
Another warning from Robert Byrd. He's been in there 3 times between these two. This one handed out to Shane.
A right hand by Estrada there, but Mosley rode it. The great Sugar Ray Leonard can tell you about that. Duran used to do that real well. You just turn with the punch and you go with the right hand. It looks like it's landed, but there's nothing on it.
Doubles up the jab and then comes with a right. More work from the jab from David Estrada. Now Estrada throws a solid left and a body punch by Mosley as he stumbles back against the ropes. And Estrada keeps charging forward. I'll tell you, Robert Byrd has a busy night ahead of him. Referee there.
So far, doing a good job, Robert Byrd, because not overimposing himself, just getting in there when he has to. He understands we're not here to see him.
Good work.
Good work by Estrada there, catching Mosley, pulling back.
A smile from David Estrada. Sugar Shane heads back to the corner with his new trainer, John David Jackson. Here's what he told us of the effect Jackson has had.
He's a 2-time world champion, junior middleweight and middleweight champion. You know, we have a great relationship because I think he understands what's going on in my mind when I'm in the ring, certain things that I'm doing. I think that he's a very underrated trainer, that people don't really know much about him, but he's probably one of the best trainers out there. With the knowledge that he has, you know, moving around, he gets in the ring and works with you. And also, you know, the mids, body work. I mean, he has a great, broad knowledge of the game of boxing, and we see eye to eye on a lot of things.
Sugar Shane ready for round number 3. In the second round, Estrada was 14 out of 31 in his power shots. Mosley 19 out of 27. That's good for landing 70% of his power connects in that second round. By the way, Teddy went to the body with 11 connected punches. Estrada in the black with gold, Sugar Shane in the white with gold. 10 rounds, welterweight action, the return of Sugar Shane to the 147-pound division.
You know, John David Jackson, the new trainer for Mosley, as Mosley said, former WBA junior middleweight world champion. He was a southpaw and he was a slickster, Joe. And that's what he brings to Mosley. Being slick, bringing him, and you're seeing that Mosley stepping back. That's not by accident. That's because Jackson likes that. To be smart, to be a boxer, to be a defensive fighter, to be a counterpuncher. That's the mark. That's the style of John David Jackson. And to be as good as David Jackson is, and he was a smart fighter.
Good exchange there, Teddy, with the left hand from Sugar Shane.
The quick hands, the faster hands by Mosley. And right now, Estrada coming forward, but leaning a little bit. Look for a switch to the right punch, and I think maybe the right punch would be the uppercut for Mosley as Estrada starts to lean forward. You know, everything even here.
Listen, son.
There's a warning.
Robert Bird now admonishing
keeping
David
order
Estrada. Bird doing a good job of it, admonishing Estrada moments ago. Halfway through this third round, scheduled for 10.
You know, Joe, smarter fighter as Jackson was, and I think he is a good trainer.
Shane getting in and out.
On the up and up here, Mosley's got the better tools. Maybe the best shot for Mosley might be elements or things outside the ring, nothing to do with speed or talent. But maybe with Mosley changing trainers for the third time in 3 fights. You know, there's a transition period that you got to get used to a new trainer. Maybe during that transition period when he's neither here nor there, caught in between, this could be a good time for Estrada. That might be his best shot, quite honestly, in this fight, because I think he needs outside help to win this fight. He needs intangibles. He needs something else.
Teddy, when you talk to most of the boxing experts and they make a prediction on the fight, no matter which way they call it, be it for Mosley or Estrada, they will always place that tagline of, if you're going to fight Mosley at any point, this is the night to get him.
Just watch Mosley to see if he's got his identity tonight. See if he's stepping out and he's boxing consistently, if that's what he's doing, and John David Jackson, a smart trainer, wants him to do. Or if he's sometimes not doing that, other times he's caught in between, just going back to what he was doing in his last fight with his last trainer, Joe Goosen, who's a good trainer. And the trainer before that, his father. If he's maybe just standing there and punching, not grabbing one style. Estrada hopes that's the case.
3 seconds to the bell. Listen for the bell.
Coming to the end of round number 3. Well, let's head up well above the Roman Plaza to our emperor, Brian Kenny, with Sugar Ray Leonard.
Yes, if Caesar had a luxury suite, this is where it would be, and Ray Leonard deserves that. What do you see so far, Ray? What do you think of Shane?
Well, I don't see the same sharp, crisp punches that Shane normally has. There's the conviction there. I mean, normally he goes in and he throws punches with serious personality. With Estrada, I think Estrada, she needs to keep pushing the fight rather, and try to overwhelm him. Be a lot more busier.
I don't see the same aggression that I saw with Shane against Oscar De La Hoya or in one of his title defenses at lightweight. Do you think that can come out as the rounds go on?
I don't know. I doubt it, but I really think it's the weight factor. The weight is the factor.
Why is that?
Because coming back down to 147 is not that easy, especially at age 33.
He's been fighting again. He only lost to 2 guys in his whole career. Both were 6 feet tall. He's about 5'8", but we'll see. Let's send it back ringside. Joe and Teddy.
Good insight from Sugar Ray. And Teddy, I know you agree with a lot of what he said.
Yeah, well, first of all, I agree 100% with the point that Sugar Ray just made, and it's easy to agree with one of the great fighters of all time. But with the weight, Mosley, a lot of people thought going into this fight would have an advantage. He would get back his power, stepping down in weight, get back some of that speed he used to have at lightweight. But the one thing they didn't think about is his last 4 fights, he's been 154. But that's not with extra baggage. That's not with loose skin.
No.
That's solid muscle. And I happen to know he has a weight trainer. He lifts pretty good weights. He's a strong guy. It's hard to take off muscle. And when you take off muscle to come back, you can leave something in the gym, and that's what Ray is alluding to.
See the punches in round 3. And now Teddy's scorecard. Estrada with a 10-9 second round. They flip-flop the third, 29-29. First round, Teddy called even.
And Ray also talked and touched on not being definitive. A good word. Mosley, so far, he hasn't been in or out. He hasn't been the boxer all the way or the snappy, hard puncher, body puncher, fast hand guy that walks you down and just takes your soul away from you with his great scintillating explosive talent. He hasn't been either one consistently, and that might touch on the transition period of a new trainer. A good trainer, but a new trainer.
It's like anything else in life, Teddy. You get a new boss, you got to get used to it.
What it means is an opportunity for Estrada, and it's up to Estrada now how he takes advantage of that, and he's doing it the old-fashioned way. He's not fancy, he's not smancy. He's just walking in, he's throwing punches, but he's making sure he brings his legs properly and responsibly, and he's not leaving holes. See how he's taking those legs? That's a simple thing, but it's a fundamental thing, it's a basic thing, it's an important thing. Right there, he jumped in a little bit. That's where Mosley can get an opportunity to be set to punch and time him with the right hand.
Mosley tries
good body punch. We talked about the body.
Left hand.
Well, he's a good body puncher.
Back to the body.
He's a good body puncher. He just hurt him with that left hook downstairs. Now the experience of Mosley should kick in. He knows he's been hurt. You should see him go to the body more. I'd be surprised if Mosley didn't stay on that body. And right now, Mosley not helping himself by smothering himself, giving Estrada the rest he's so badly looking for.
Teddy, you said bang the drum as one of your fight keys. He entered the ring to Phil Collins. Bang the drum right there.
Look, no matter how hard Estrada fights, there's still an experience level difference here and a talent level difference. And the talent level difference is starting to show now with Mosley.
Mosley keeps coming forward, putting his punches together.
He should go downstairs.
His best round. There he goes. Another left hand downstairs. And David Estrada is hurt at the end of this 4th round. What a big round for Sugar Shane. The left hand of the body doing damage. Let's listen into the corners.
Really nice one. You got to do it. Walk in, moving your ear. And you're going to touch him like you do. Real nice. I feel good. Okay. Oh, go to him. Beautiful, baby. Go to him. Beautiful. Move right here. Touch him in the body, baby. All right? You're beautiful. The boxing is beautiful. He can't take no more than Sugar. Take your time. Don't be in a rush. Pick him up.
Teddy, break it down.
Well, call bang the drum, call whatever you want. That's a devastating body shot. Left hook to the body. There it is. The opening, the elbow of Estrada moves forward. The hook goes backwards. There it is again. The elbow of Estrada moves forward. Mosley, with that great experience, Sugar Ray can tell you about that, goes over there. It's about finding the holes, finding the openings. Mosley found it.
Angelo Dundee preparing his charge for round number 5 against Sugar Shane. Robert Byrd wants these corners dried up. You know, earlier we were discussing the little tricks of the trade from Angelo Dundee. He's known how to stall once or twice in his career.
One of the great cornermen, forget about trainers, just one of the great cornermen and great cutmen of all time.
Would that include cutting a glove?
Whatever it takes to help your fighter within the realms, certain realms.
Scheduled for 10 rounds. Elite welterweights here on ESPN pay-per-view. Sugar Shane, David Estrada, Kermit Cintrone, and Antonio Margarito for a world title still to come on this inaugural pay-per-view.
You know, Estrada's been...
Teddy Atlas with you, so glad you can be with us.
Estrada's been affected by those body punches. The memory is with him. It's lingering and it's doing damage. He's anticipating body shots and he's leaning forward. Look at him. He's covering his elbows
counter punch, Teddy.
He's covering up his elbows. He's leaning forward and he's leaving himself open to uppercuts if Mosley switches, and there it is. If he switches to that punch, I think it's going to be there for Mosley now.
All right, free up, guys. Stop punching. Free up. Let's go.
Angelo Dundee now joins us. Joe and Teddy here. Angelo, what concerns you?
The only concern I got when the kid backs up, Shane's taking advantage of it. Shane's using all his good skills. What the heck? He was a former champion. But my guy gets better as the fight goes along. He's going to do a number on this guy.
Hey, Angelo, it's Teddy here. You must be happy with one thing. Shane came out boxing this round after you hurt your guy to the body the last round. You must have been glad to see that because he's letting your guy recover a little bit.
I'm very happy.
Yeah, I know you are.
My guy's going to put some hurt on him, though.
All right, good luck,
Angelo, get back to work. Boy, is he still entertaining after all these years. One of the all-time greats, the trainer and manager of David Estrada, the great Angelo Dundee. Last minute of round number 5. Estrada has had a few moments here.
Whether he meant to or not, Mosley has come out and done exactly what Estrada and Angelo Dundee would have wanted him to do. He boxed. He didn't press. He didn't keep his foot on the gas. And most importantly, he did not go back to that body that he hurt Estrada so badly the last round. He's allowed Estrada to get himself back together. And maybe that's the transition, trying to be the boxer, maybe.
Left hand from Estrada that time.
Well, Estrada's trying to help himself. We said that he's going to need help. He doesn't have the talent, the experience, I don't think, to win outright without some help here. And to his credit, he's helping himself right now. He turned southpaw a minute ago, Joe, trying to pull some tricks out, maybe mix up Mosley a little bit.
He's going to need some more tricks down the stretch.
This guy. Don't you back up, Yippee, please. You can lick this guy.
All you have to do now is just doing it exactly how you did.
Turn southpaw.
Pressure. Hit. Little speed.
Slide right. Chop that rib. Slide right. Chop that rib in that straight left hand. You ain't showed this guy nothing yet. You give him that.
Keep doing what you're doing. All right, you're boxing beautiful. You can't deal with your walking. Let him walk for you. Let him walk for you. You got to get up. Just move your head for him. You're doing good. You need to get the body. The body where you got to go to. So one, two, get up to the body. Keep doing what you're doing. Right. You're boxing beautiful. Move your head. He could double a hook to the body, then one to the head. Triple a hook up. Beautiful. That's your body.
Based on weight class for Sugar Shane, he was stellar as a lightweight. Probably the best lightweight since Duran. Went all the way up to 154, now settling back down at 147 pounds. Through 5 rounds, Mosley has landed 59% of his power shots, and it's been bolstered by a body attack.
You could still see early on Estrada, he got to retreat that round because of the help of his friend or his opponent, Mosley, staying away. But it looks like Mosley has something else in mind, maybe, starting with the jab and maybe walking forward, getting back to the attack again. But Estrada still, look how he leans forward in there. A well-placed uppercut could really be very effective for Mosley right now. Also, Estrada will cover up. He still knows the memory of that body shot a couple rounds ago, Joe. Watch how he covers up. He puts those elbows, and look, that gives an opening outside the elbow.
Uppercut opportunity.
Yeah, and the body opportunity. When he covers up like that, anticipating the body shot, he covers up on the inside. He brings his elbows in close. He draws them in. He leaves an opening to the rib cage behind the elbows. Not to the body in the soft part of the body, but behind the elbow to the rib cage. Good uppercut.
Uppercut. Shane Mosley. Estrada is coming forward. Teddy, after the last round, we heard Angelo Dundee said, I want you to go southpaw and look for the straight left. We haven't seen it.
No. And he's don't think he just came up with this tonight, Estrada. He's familiar. He's comfortable with switching back and forth from the orthodox stance to the southpaw
Why
stance.
is he not listening to his trainer, Angelo Dundee?
Because he's in there with a 3-time world champion under the lights of Caesar's Palace.
The moment's getting the best of him.
Maybe.
David Estrada stepping up, by far the biggest night of his life. Sugar Shane, a very important fight.
You're holding and hitting. Don't do that. Let's go.
A fight that has a huge risk attached to it. But he says that's what fighters do. You take those challenges. It's about being the best. not about making business decisions. And you got to respect that out of Sugar Shane.
Sometimes when you have great talent, you break the rules sometimes. It's like a young kid having a race car, a Porsche. You know, he'll run a light even though he shouldn't. He gets carried away with the speed. Mosley, even though he's getting a little longer in the tooth, he's 33 now, with that talent, every once in a while he'll break the rules. He'll pull back a little bit. He'll anticipate the punches by pulling back instead of slipping them because of his great speed and sense of anticipation. That could be an opportunity for Estrada if he could time Mosley, and he just tried right there, and he tried again.
Oh, and Mosley went with the left hand to the body at the end of it as they come to the conclusion of round number 6. Looping left hand from Estrada. Still to come, Kermit Cintrone, Antonio Margarito, and Jeremy Schaap is in Cintrone's locker room.
Joe, a very intense Kermit Cintrone. He didn't come out of his room all day except to eat. When he did eat, one of the complex carbohydrates he had, applesauce mixed with oatmeal. On the other hand, Tony Margarito, his opponent, more accustomed to these circumstances, was seen walking around the pool today, exposing himself to the sun, which can sometimes drain a fighter. So obviously very different approaches, a very focused Kermit Cintrone down here, Joe.
Wonderful report, Jeremy. Teddy, what do you make of that?
Well, I make, first of all, good insight by Jeremy to bring out those points and ask those questions, because that goes to really the heart of the question in that fight, which I think is going to be an offensive fighter. Experience of Margarito against the strength and the youth of Cintrone. The experienced guy, Margarito, as Jeremy just told us, walking around like it's just another fight. Cintrone locked up in his room. Maybe the pressure becomes a factor.
So Cintrone potentially tight. Margarito always loose, and is he ever loose with the hands? He flat out lets him go. That's still to come. We have great action in front of us now. Shane Mosley, David Estrada, round number 7. They are scheduled for 10.
Again, you saw Mosley before, switching back and forth. We touched on it. Does he have his identity squared away with his third trainer in 3 fights? Sometimes stepping back, inviting Estrada into his parlor right there, stepping back, looking for the counter. Other times, walking him down, going to the body, going with the power game.
Sugar Ray Leonard, the last time we visited with you and got your analysis, you had some issues and concerns with Sugar Shane. What do you see now?
Well, much more improved, and with Shane, you see the experience has become a factor here. Shane, I don't understand why Shane has not went back to the body. That body attack was what did some damage.
Especially in the 4th round, Ray. In that 4th round, he really hurt him.
Exactly. He should go back down there with more uppercuts.
I agree with you, Sugar. I don't know why
right
he's
hand.
not going to the body.
Good right hand by Shane.
Right now, he should go to the body. You know why? Because he's hurt Estrada, and instinct takes over. A hurt guy's going to move. He's going to grab. He's going to do anything he can do to survive. The one thing that's going to be stationary, that's not going to move, the body. That's going to be a constant. Mosley should go to the body now more than ever. And you can see Estrada again. He understands that he needs help in this fight.
Test the body with the left time.
He knows that he can't do it just with his ability. It's not up to par with Mosley. So every once in a while, he's switching to southpaw. He's doing whatever he can to keep himself in this fight.
Ray Leonard with Brian Kenny all night long. We'll be hearing more from Ray as we set up the main event. Kermit Cintrone and Antonio Margarito. Just about a minute to go here in round number 7. A round in which David Estrada.
There's the opportunity for
Estrada now comes back and catches a right hand to the head.
Well, Joe, that's the opportunity for Estrada. We talked about it earlier. Mosley with that great talent, and it might not be as great as it used to be, but he doesn't know that. The sense of anticipation, Ray can tell you that. The reflexes. He breaks the rules with that talent. He pulls back, and that's where Estrada can capitalize once in a while. Time Mosley as he pulls back. Aim a punch behind him. Beat Joe Montana like the quarterback. Lead the receiver with the pass. Throw the punch where he's gonna be. Let him pull into it. And then again, there's a slip right there. Estrada, give him credit. He knows what he has and what he doesn't have. He's a strong guy, he's a game guy, he's an aggressive guy. And he's trying to make that work for him the best he can.
What a fun round to watch here between Mosley and Estrada. the corner of Shane Mosley, where they will talk things over with 3 rounds to go. Sugar Shane has not scored a knockdown in his last 70 rounds. Of course, those rounds coming against the likes of Winky Wright twice, Oscar De La Hoya, Raul Marquez, and Vernon Forrest. Here are the right hands, Teddy.
Action from the last round. You see a little reaching there by Estrada. And again, Mosley trying to invite him in. He invites him in, gets a miss, and then fills the hole with the right hand. Follows up, but Estrada does a good job of surviving, moving his head. You're hurt, you know what to do. You grab, you move your head. Mosley missed the boat a little bit by not going downstairs, I believe, to the body. You know, you talk, Joe, about Mosley having not scored a knockdown for a while. I think that it's still the possibility and the opportunity is there tonight if he would go downstairs to the body.
He learned that in the 4th round. Let's see if he can go back to it. You know, in that 7th round, the good news for Estrada was he landed 15 power shots. The bad news was Shane landed 21.
Step out. Let's go.
Off to a good start here.
You know what the real bad news is here for Estrada?
What's that?
He knows that he has to be aggressive and fight inside. He can't fight outside with Mosley. Too much speed, you know, too much experience, too much finesse. But the bad news is, even though when he's inside, when Mosley decides to fight inside, he's better. He's the better guy inside too. So if Estrada can't beat him on the inside, like right now, if he can't beat him on the inside, we know he can't beat him on the outside. Where does Estrada go? Where's his hope? Where's his chance?
There are those power punches we talked about, and a look at Teddy Atlas's scorecard. 69-65. Mosley taking every round from the 3rd onward. Back to the jab now. Estrada tested on the inside. Flicks out the jab. Mosley, body shot with the right hand. It was the left hand that did the damage in the 4th round. He had 11 body shots in the 2nd round, 9 in the 4th, but in that 5th, tapered off at 5.
Again, I'm in camp.
Let's go. Step back. Let's go.
With Sugar Ray Leonard. Why is Mosley not? And maybe we answered the questions why, the transition. But why is he not going downstairs to the body? Which he does so well, and he's already shown himself he can be effective with it with this fighter. But there he's pulling back again. See, that's the one flaw in Mosley, but Estrada doesn't have the real TNT pop to get a guy who has a great chin out of there. He can land, but he needs more than that. He's going to have to put 2 or 3 together. Not one. It's not going to do it. Not with a guy that was a former 3-time world champion. The flaw with Mosley is 2 things. One, he'll pull straight back, Joe, and he's in the path of the punch. And if you step with him, if you act like Joe Montana and you throw that pass or that punch behind him, you'll find him in that path. The other thing is he depends on those reflexes instead of technique. He depends on seeing a punch coming and he breaks the rules. Just like the young kid with the fast car. He pulls back. And when he pulls back, he can be vulnerable. If Estrada does that, times him, and he stepped in with a nice right hand right there.
That's the beauty of this fight. That opportunity exists as we come down to the finish.
Again, there's the opportunity for the uppercut for Mosley. As soon as something comes up top to Estrada, Estrada leans forward to get away from the shots. And he could leave a hole for an uppercut if Mosley can just see it.
Left hand from Estrada as we come to the end of this 8th round. Walks in, Mosley with a right. Still to come, the main event. The WBO welterweight title. Antonio Margarito and Kermit Cintrone. Jeremy Schaap is in the locker room of Tony Margarito.
Joe, Tony Margarito, he has barely broken a sweat. He seems extraordinarily relaxed. I asked him about his reputation for getting off to slow starts. He says he knows that is what Kermit Cintrone is expecting from him. He says it will be very different tonight. He is going to come out slugging. Back down to you, Joe.
Well, that would go against form for Margarito, but it would excite everybody here. Margarito tends to be a slow starter, but boy, does he come on.
You're halfway home.
Last round, Teddy, David Estrada.
This guy sucking wind, baby.
He had his moments.
Yes, he did. He did it the old-fashioned way. He earned it. He stepped in with punches. He understands. One thing you can't say about Estrada, you can't say he doesn't know who he is or what he is. He understands he's a simple guy. He's tough, he's strong, he's aggressive, and that's what he's bringing to the party, win or lose.
Actually, one of the criticisms of Sugar Shane Mosley, and especially in his losses to Vernon Forrest and some work against Winky Wright, was that he just wasn't busy enough. He wasn't the busier man. Tonight, he's averaging 58 punches thrown per round through 8 rounds, landing 24. Estrada way off his average. He's averaging 13 connects and 51 punches thrown per round. Once again, in his best win of his career against Chris the Mechanic Smith, he averaged over 80 punches per round, so well off the pace of that.
Well, no wonder. Look at the difference in grade and level of opponent. Sure,
Major league pitching here.
Of course he would be off. I mean, you know, that's like saying Nevada High shooting percentage was off against North Carolina.
Hey, Chris Smith isn't quite that. Chris Smith was a good undefeated prospect, and Estrada notched a TKO win back in January. You see the warning from Robert Byrd. He's been involved throughout these 9 rounds. But nonetheless, obviously elite company now in the ring with David Estrada in the form of the 3-time world champion. There's a right hand.
Come on, let's go.
Smith from New York, the mechanic, good solid game guy, a lot like Estrada. Mosley is not a lot like Estrada. Different talent. You know, styles make fights, and that's been definitely evident in the big wins and losses in the career of Sugar Shane Mosley. Because of his assets and his style of speed, he's beaten boxers, you know, finesse guys like De La Hoya. And he's lost his strength and size guys like Winky Wright, Vernon Forrest. Yeah, tonight he's fighting a strength guy, but not of the talent level of those other guys. And that's why Mosley's been able to do it both ways, Joe, inside or outside. Right now, Mosley not sitting down on his punches. He's trying to set up Estrada, though. He's trying to roll him into a big shot. He's throwing tip-tap shots.
Teddy, I was just thinking that because the right hand was so effective just 2 rounds ago. And if he was sitting down, boy, those opportunities were there. He could have gotten to him.
No, what he was trying to do was give Estrada a little bit of false sense of security.
So the next time, it won't be a secure outcome.
Yes. Trying to make him feel comfortable. You don't want to feel comfortable in this ring, especially when you're fighting a guy and you're stepping up with a guy like Sugar Shane Mosley. Mosley has taken his foot off the gas the last 2 rounds.
David Estrada will have 1 more round to try to make the dream come true.
Last round, there ain't no more. Kick this guy's ass. There ain't no more. Don't save it for tomorrow. Let's go.
This is it.
That's it, baby. Don't back up for a second. Body shots with this guy. You got this guy sucking wind. He don't want no more. Come on, baby.
Good, baby. It's all good. Walk away. You walk away. That's right. Keep doing your thing. Not the explosives. Keep doing your thing. Keep doing your thing. This is a fight. You don't have to fight him. This box has got. Be careful. Not trying to come out.
Right. We're approaching the 10th and final round of this wellness tournament. David Estrada. This is
And final round between Estrada and Sugar Shane, coming off a 9th round in which Estrada outlanded Mosley for the first time tonight. Fast pace out of the gate here in this last stanza. He's trying to chase him down and hunt him. A fired-up Angelo Dundee sent his charge into this 10th round. The corner of Mosley much more reserved.
Well, that strategy is great for our audience because only one of 2 things is going to happen. Estrada's going to catch Mosley, as we say, sometimes breaking the rules, pulling back, or Mosley's going to nail Estrada coming in, getting careless, leaving a little bit of a reckless opening.
Stop. You're hooking him. Let go. Fight.
Right now, Mosley set the punch, so if there's any catching to be done, it's going to be done by Mosley. The only way that Estrada's going to be doing the delivering, the catching, is if Mosley's not set, if he's moving away.
And if a fight breaks out, many times in his career, Shane has proven that's just the way he likes it.
See, right now is where Estrada can shine a little bit. As Mosley starts stepping back, not set to punch.
Doubles up the jab, back to it.
There's that one jab, that single jab from Estrada again, Joe.
Yeah.
He hasn't paid a big price, but it's not over yet. See, there's the one jab again. He leaves himself very vulnerable for a right hand.
That right hand came through in the 7th round. Worked well for Shane Mosley. His best punch of the fight was a left to the body in the 4th round. That staggered Estrada.
When Estrada leaves that one jab out there, he leaves space for that right hand. When he throws two, he smothers the right hand of Mosley. There's no space, no danger.
I got you. Step out. Let's go.
See, it's about when you throw. You know, for those young aspiring boxers out there, it's not about just throwing. When Mosley just throws, what happens? Estrada blocks them. They're off. It's about throwing at the right time, having the discipline, the knowledge to throw at the right time. Maybe while Estrada's throwing. That's the best shot for Mosley to catch Estrada while he's throwing.
Final 45 seconds of the final round. David Estrada, he came in confident, maybe downright arrogant. Sugar Shane, he says, I'm here to destroy everybody in my path.
Give Estrada credit. He survived some tough spots. He survived being hurt. And he's coming in and he's done it the best he can do it.
Major step up, Teddy. And now Mosley, there is that right hand at the end of that combination.
And there simply is the quicker hands.
Goes to the body with the right, doubles it up top to the head. Now there's that body shot.
But it's going to be too late. Estrada
comes with a left hook as they swing away at the end of this welterweight feature fight. Crowd at Caesars Palace enjoying the action. It has been a sensational night of pay-per-view boxing. Sugar Shane, 3-time world champion, his 3rd trainer in 3 fights. More good than bad tonight. David Estrada, very proud man, and he should be surviving against a high caliber opponent. Let's recap the efforts from Shane Mosley, and we will start off with round number 4, where Teddy, the body shot, the left hand did damage.
Yes, it did. The good news for Estrada, Mosley did not stay there the rest of the night.
5th round, trying to go to the body again, something that Sugar Ray and Teddy were calling for all night. And how about the flurry with the uppercut?
And how about the jab right there? And there's the uppercut. We talked about it. Estrada will lean forward inside. He didn't eat it too much.
7th round, Teddy, was the right hand.
Again, Estrada coming forward, leaning a little bit. Mosley knows what to do with an opponent's not in good position. He gets his hands off. And in the last round
of the fight,
well, Estrada, give him credit. He was bringing it, and Mosley was stepping back, giving a little room, and trying to counter in between. Good, solid fight.
The punches between Estrada and Mosley. Mosley a commanding edge, 234 to 140. He threw 60 more, but how about 39% landed? Also had an edge in power and had 68 more jabs that landed. Teddy Atlas's scorecard, 98-94 for Sugar Shane. Let's listen in to Jimmy Lennon Jr.
Ladies and gentlemen, after 10 rounds of action, we have a unanimous decision. Here are the score totals. Judge at ringside, Chuck Jumpa scores about 97 to 93. Dick Houck sees it 98 to 91. Dave Moretti scores about 99 to 91. All three in favor of the winner, Sugar Shane Mosley.
So Sugar Shane Mosley is back as a true elite welterweight contender. Jeremy Schaap is standing by with the 3-time world champion.
Hey, Joe, thanks very much. Shane, you were talking all week about the haters, the critics, the people who were down on you after losing 4 of your last 6 fights. What do you think you showed them tonight?
You know, I showed them some boxing ability. I've been working a lot on my defense, moving, slipping, and sliding, and I tried to demonstrate a little bit of that today. You know, David Estrada was a very tough fighter. Hit him a couple body shots. Normally, these guys who went down, but he covered up pretty good later in the round. You know, he's a hell of a fighter, and I tip my hat off to him because I didn't think he was really that tough watching his tapes, but he's a pretty tough fighter.
How much better did you feel tonight fighting at 147?
Well, I felt a lot better. I mean, the guys are more my size and not bigger than me, so, you know, I don't have to really overexert myself to try to knock the guys out, try to hit them hard to get the respect. I can just throw normal shots and get the respect of a guy my weight.
Your first win in almost 2 years. What do you take out of this fight technically?
Technically, you know, I box very well. You know, I still want to get the feeling of the 47-pound club. I've been at 54 for 2 years, so you know, I'm trying to get back into the groove of things. And you know, I think this fight is the first step back to my 47-pound career.
What were you thinking when you were hitting Estrada with all those shots and he just kept coming back to you?
Well, I knew Estrada was a tough fighter, but I thought maybe by me going down to 47, I might have a better effect. But Estrada's he's a pretty big kid. He's a tough kid, and you know, he always comes. I knew he was in great shape when he come to fight. He always come to fight. I'm not taking my hat off to him. He's a very tough fighter, and I think he deserves to have, you know, title fights with up and coming, you know, with the top welterweights out there. I mean, he deserves to be in with the top welterweights. He's a good fighter.
What's next for you, Shane?
I'm really not sure. I'll go back to the drawing board and see what's next.
Shane, congratulations. Thanks very much. Back down to you, Joe and Teddy.
Thanks, Jeremy. Main event, of course, still to come from this magnificent mecca of boxing. How about one last look at Sugar Shane's win from Caesars Palace Outdoor Roman Plaza Amphitheater?